Welcome to this exercise on the leaning brick piles approach. Here we have the data for 7 business units, as in their market value, so how much are they worth on the free market, and the carrying amount or book value, so how much should they be worth according to our own bookkeeping, based on what we spent invested in them. What are we supposed to do with this? We're supposed to use the leaning brick piles approach to determine which business unit should be divested in and why. And there's also the information I gave already that carrying amount in this regard is synonymous to book value. Well, how do we approach this problem? First off, I'm going to take this, what we had as an information in the exercise text, and I'm going to calculate the so-called MB ratio. MB ratio is simply market by book value. So I divide what is in the first row by that what is in a second. So 300 by 100, 50 by 100. And there we also have those brackets which indicate negative values. So it's like minus 50 by 100. That's why here I have the brackets as well, because it's minus 1/2. Then we have 200 by 50, 500 by 500, and so forth. With this MB ratio, we're going to reorder our business units from highest to lowest MB ratio, giving us this order. And in addition to the reordered business units, I'm going to calculate cumulated market and book values. So I start with market and book values of the first business unit, so of 3. That's here the 200 and the 50. Then I'm going to add the market and book value of the first business unit. So I'm going to add to the market value 300 and to the book value of 50, 100. Giving me these cumulated values. To those, I'm adding the values for business unit 7. So I'm going to add 200 and 150. So 500 plus 200, 150 plus 150, giving me those. Then I'm going to add what I have for business unit 4. Here I have 500 and 500. So 700 plus 500, 300 plus 500. This one I carry through till the end. If I take a closer look, I see the book value keeps on increasing, but the market value, the cumulated market value, increases until I reach those two here with a negative market value, which means those two are actually harmful to our company. So here I already know those two I need to divest. Well, with those comments, let's illustrate this graphically. So I copied the table from before. That's how it would look like graphically. How do I get to this graphic? Well, on the x-axis, I'm going to represent the cumulated book values, and on the y-axis, the cumulated market values. Starting with 0, 0. For the 3, I go from 0 to 250. Then for the 1, I start at 50, go to 150. This part. For 7, I start at 150, go to 300. Then similarly from 300 to 800 for the 4, from 800 to 1300, 1300 to 1400, and 1400 to 1450. This gives me the baseline for these boxes representing the different business units. The height of these boxes can be determined with the cumulative market values. So I start at 0, and for 3 I go up to 200. For 1 I start at 200, go up to 500. Then for 7 from 500, the one before, to 700. For the 4 I go from 700 to 1200. From 1200 to 1500. Now I'm at those where it decreases. So I start at 1500 and I go down to 1450. For the 5, I start at 1450, go down to 1,350. So until I arrive up here, I'm always going upwards. Starting at this point, I start to go downwards. And that's, as I said already, the reason why I'm going to divest 2 and 5, because I have a negative market value and that is harmful for the company. Well, that's also why I colored them in red. Then I have the blue colored ones and the yellow colored ones. The blue colored ones have an MB ratio larger to or equal to 1. So here I perform at least as good as the market, or rather my book value is at least slightly lower than the market value. So they're worth more than they're supposed to be. With the yellow colored one, the 6, they underperform. The value in the market is smaller than they're supposed to be according to the book value. And that's why they also do not make sense for me, because in this case, it's no longer as, well, efficient, as beneficial as it supposedly should be. So I divest in the 6 as well, for the reason here that market value is lower than book value. And that's basically those two situations here. 6, divest because market value is below book value, and 2 and 5, divest because market value is negative. Well, that's done about it on this exercise. I say goodbye and see you next time.